All right. Good morning, everybody. Man, I forgot how good the music in that was.
Yeah, that was
Let's
amazing. I
jam
was
it.
gonna say I was jamming. I was waiting for like some vocals to come on and everything. That was awesome. I loved it.
That was so good. All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another cup of positivity. Today is a special festive cup. So we're going to, as you see, I got my Santa hat on. You may notice the studio looks a little different. I've done some decorating. So it's going to be pretty sweet. I have the super pleasure here of introducing an amazing gentleman today. I actually met Jamie a long time ago. Well, not a long time ago. It feels like it was a while ago. But back in September, when I was in my own kind of job search position before I started all this stuff, I connected with Jamie. And Jamie is a pretty incredible person. If you have been following him on LinkedIn, he's incredibly positive. He's out there trying to help people to get jobs. He's part of all types of interesting positive things and movements. So super excited to have you on the podcast today, Jamie. Have you out here to talk to everybody, maybe give us some useful things. Do want to start off first because, interestingly enough, I actually scrolled back into our chats on LinkedIn because I was like, man, how did we meet? Like, what happened? It was through Social Saturday, which is amazing. So for those of you who haven't jumped on that train yet, I highly recommend it. It's amazing. And like I said, it was the start of when I was actually looking for a job. And what the first thing that really stood out to me is you immediately were just interested in like, what was I doing? What was I looking for? What did I want out of it? So definitely one of the first things I want to ask you is how did you get into that position to like, where did you find that passion in helping people find careers and find jobs?
Yeah, so great. First off, happy holidays to everybody. Thanks for joining us today, wherever you're coming from. Hopefully, it's a Merry Christmas, Happy Holiday, whatever you celebrate with your loved ones. Thanks for being here today, and thanks for having me, Freeman. I appreciate it. So for the last 12 years, I've spent time in several different Fortune 50 companies, and what I've done as a leader is I've had to hire people and build my own sales and operations teams. Right, so I've done everything from resume reviewing people's resumes to interviewing people for my teams, helping people build better LinkedIn's and reviewing their LinkedIn to see how it's being optimized and how visible they are out there. So basically what I took everything that I've done the last 12 years, and in April I was most recently laid off from my most recent financial institution job, and I took that as a sign to say, you know what, everything I've learned the last 12 years, something I've always wanted to do was helping others with their job search and becoming a career coach myself. But I never really had the time to do any of this stuff because I felt like I was working so many hours and didn't really have time to focus on me, right? So took that as a sign. And what I did was I came up with my company Jam Sessions with Jamie, which combines my love of music and how I used to sing in choir in high school. My family's big into piano playing and being in bands. And I took that love for music, took the jam session side of brainstorming, and that's how I came up with Jam Sessions with Jamie. And I started doing things like, do you want to become a number one hit in the eyes of recruiters and hiring managers? Do you want to take your job search to the top of the charts? So everything kind of just blended really nicely. And then first people I met when I came back to LinkedIn was Jonathan Lee. And if anyone doesn't know Jonathan, he's also really big into helping job seekers. And he was one of the pioneers on the Social Saturday movement. So I spent time talking with him and said, well, how can I get myself out there more with my career coaching and different things? And he just said to be more engaging with people's posts and get yourself out there, introduce yourself, and just start making an impact and show up consistently. And that's what I did. And I started doing Social Saturday then every week, and people started coming to it. And then most recently, I started doing Welcome Wednesdays as another way to connect during the week. And ever since, it's been bringing people together between recruiters and job seekers. And I do my jam sessions for 1 hour for people who sign up, and I help them out with resume reviews, interview practice, and how to make a better LinkedIn profile.
Man, and you started all that in April, you said?
Yeah, so
Of this year?
April's when I came officially back on the scene on LinkedIn. I had like less than 500 followers and just wanted to build and just kept being out there. And yeah, I just started the company about 4 months ago, and I've been growing ever since. So it's been a fun ride, and hopefully 2023 is going to even be a better year.
That's impressive because for those of you who don't know, I'm going to kind of boost you up a bit here. You're at 12,000 followers, I think, now on LinkedIn.
17, but who's
17,000.
counting, honestly? Yeah.
No, I don't. It's not about the numbers. It never is
Right.
about the numbers. But I think what it shows, what the numbers show, is just how dedicated you have been to doing this. Like the fact that you started in April and now you have so many followers, so many people looking to you to find that useful information, like that really goes to show that you're just doing an amazing job. So from all of us, thank you so much for like what you're doing for people. I do want to ask as well, kind of, what are some big wins you've seen in that time for people? Like, do you have any cool success stories from then?
Yeah, so I've had a guy that I started, one of my first clients, actually, when I first started the business up. He reached out to me and we had a jam session together, and I helped him build a resume. And he was trying to break into to the Department of Health industry, basically trying to get a job, local to him. So we did a resume review, and instantly he started getting more interviews. And he just reached out. It took him a little bit longer to try to find the job he really wanted, but he just reached out to me about a month ago after I hadn't heard from him for a little bit. And he said, "Hey, I just wanted to say thank you so much for our jam session and just all the tips that you share on LinkedIn. I did end up getting a job with the Department of Health, and I'm super excited to start working." So that was really cool. I hadn't talked to him, and we haven't followed up for a little bit. So just seeing that person get a job right away. And then there was a female I worked with earlier, about a month and a half ago, who just got a job as well after one of our jam sessions. And she got a job in the wireless industry as a talent acquisition specialist, which is something she wanted to transition to. So yeah, there's been a lot of good success stories, and it's been great. I just love seeing people take down their green open to work banners. It's awesome.
Man, that's so cool. Do you have a number? Like, are you keeping track of how many people you've helped find jobs, or how many people you've had in jam sessions?
You know what? I really should keep track of how many have actually had jobs, but I have helped over 100 people in general. If you look at like my recommendations on my profile, you can see everybody, who's had a great jam session with me. And like I said, the thing that I do is I continue to follow up with them over time and just see how things are going. And when they revamp their resume, they send it to me and I can give quick feedback, and we just stay in touch that whole time. It's not like I'm a coach that just disappears once you're done working with me. Like, I'm there throughout the long haul with you.
Yeah. Do you think, I'm just going to dive into that a little bit, because I do wonder, but before I do that, I do want to shout out a couple awesome people, because there's a ton of people in the chat here, and I don't want to leave you guys hanging in the chat as well. So for those of you who wish us Merry Christmas, man, I really appreciate it all, and Happy Holidays again. I know it's not all about Christmas. I'm going to get into a little bit about that as well with you, Jamie, here a little bit later. But Matt, Nora, Jack, Elizabeth, guys, thank you so much. And Elizabeth, yes, thank you for appreciating my hat. I've only got a few more days to wear it before people look at me funny. So, but yeah, just to riff back into you helping people find those jobs and interacting with them. How do you feel when you've done all that stuff? Like, when those people message you and they say, "Hey, Jamie, really appreciate the help you did. I got this job. I've taken my green banner down." What do you get inside when that happens?
I love the recognition and everything, and it's great, but I feel like this is just what I was meant to do. Like, I feel like my calling is coming here now and helping people with their job search. And for me as a leader, what it's always been for me is not always focus on, yes, my self-development is so important, but what matters to me as a leader and helping people seeing the success from others, right? So anytime I could promote somebody from within that was on my team when I was working my jobs, or anyone I could see somebody get to the level that they want to get to on LinkedIn, or finally get that job that they've been trying to get all these years. It's a great feeling just to see people get successful and turn everything around that's been a hardship in their job search, then finally get that one yes and be feeling on top of the world. It's an amazing feeling.
Yeah, I think it's so important. It's definitely not something that's, to be understated, right? Is how impactful and how just amazing it feels to help people in that way, right? To know that you've really changed somebody's life. And I think that's what you're doing with what you're accomplishing for people. Finding the right job, finding the right career can really change somebody's life, right? It completely flip the switch. There we go. That's what I wanted to say on that, right? So yeah, super incredible. With that, what is some of the biggest things that you tell people in their job searches, mentality wise? We can get a little bit more into specifics, but mentality wise, what is some things to remember when you're out there job searching? Because it can be hard sometimes to continually. I've been there. You send those emails out. You feel like, I tracked it. It was probably over 100 different places I've applied to in the past. Right. Some places ghost you. Some places send you those lovely emails that are all the same, right? Those, "We really thank you for your thing. Unfortunately, you do not quite fit," and you're like, "Cool, right. Thanks." So what are some things that you tell people to, hey, keep in mind during that push?
Sure. So I feel like if anyone knows, these last 2 years have really changed the landscape with COVID and everything, and people being laid off, and the job market's crazier than we've ever seen it, right? So it can be very discouraging when you see those rejection emails come through and you're applying for all these places and they're saying, oh, you have great skills, but we just don't think you're a great fit. You might think to yourself, well, I've done all these things. I have all these great skills. Like, what is it? Is it me? Am I doing something wrong? And I just want to tell you, like, that's the way I used to think at first. But now, if you flip the switch, like we talked about, and you kind of change that mindset, think of it this way. For every rejection email that you get, that company missed out on a great employee. So they missed out on you. You didn't miss out on them. You know, they don't get you in their company, and they don't get to see the great things you're going to do and the great person you are. So if you just kind of think that mindset and you think to yourself, look, all I need to do is get my one yes. Once I get that one yes and I get that job offer, all those no's that came before it, they seem like an afterthought at that point, right? You'll have a story to tell. You get to start writing your new chapter in your story. And yeah, it's just that, like I said, you just have to kind of get that positive mindset and think, you know what, there's a lot of people looking for jobs right now, and you're not the only one. And all you got to do is get that one yes, and just think to yourself that it's going to happen, and just stay consistent and don't give up. Stay on that grind. And this time of year, just take the time right now to get your resume in order, get your interview practice in order, and enjoy your holiday, and then hit 2023 hard and get ready to rock and roll.
Man, I love that. And I love the subtle get rid of rock and roll there to the attuned to the jam sessions with Jamie's. I see what you did there. So good. Man, that speaks volumes to kind of how I think as well, right? Definitely I'm a huge advocate of that positive thinking. And it really goes to this mantra that I've had for a really long time, that you need to look for the gold and not the dirt. Right? It's this beautiful metaphor when it comes to people who do gold mining, right? You dig through a lot of dirt to get to a piece of gold, but it's not the dirt that you look at. You look at the pieces of gold that you're finding along the way. And I think that's kind of attuned to what it is with the job search as well. Right. If you only focus on the no emails, the rejection emails, it's going to feel pretty daunting. It's going to feel bad. You're going to feel negative. You're going to kind of get lost in that gross, dirty spiral, right? But like you said, you're like, no, I love that twist that you gave it. Be like, no, they're not passing up on an opportunity for you, right? Like they're missing you. You're not missing them.
Yep.
And I think that, you know, when you find that right position, those are the jobs and the companies and the employers that really kind of want you and respect you, and you're going to feel like you're in that right space. So, man, so good with that kind of thing. I do want to quickly ask as well, because I want to give people a bit of a takeaway for something that they can do really quickly. I don't want to like completely give away your secrets or anything, but what's one thing people can do this holiday season? Like you mentioned, get stuff ready for 2023. What's a quick tip that you see people kind of making a mistake on, whether it be in a resume format or a portfolio or getting ready for an interview? Like what's maybe kind of 3 quick tips?
Yeah, sure. And I just want to really quick shout out some comments here, if you don't mind. I see
go for
Elizabeth Grace saying, she always tells everyone to celebrate the small successes. Those baby steps get you to your end goal. So I love it. Yes, wins come in all different ways. They come in small wins, they come in big wins. But yeah, you should always celebrate them no matter what. So I love that comment. Matt says the miracle is you, not the job you apply for. I love that. You're more than just your job title. I say it all the time. My best job title is being a father for a beautiful 2-year-old daughter. So I don't even worry about the professional job titles anymore. It's all about me and my development and my family. So I love that, Matt. Jack says they will hire remote. Yep, there's still places hiring remote, definitely. And then LinkedIn user says great analogy mining for gold or opal. I love that. Great takeaway. Yes, I love that, what you said there as well. So, yeah, so what we were saying before, some takeaways that you can take into heading next year. I would say have a plan for 2023. It's okay for sometimes if you want to spray and pray when it comes to your applications, and people just apply everywhere, but try to have more of a plan when you head into 2023. So think about maybe 10 different companies that you really want to work for, and some of the job titles that really interest you. And what I would recommend doing is reaching out to people who work in those companies already, in the jobs that you're looking to get into, and just introduce yourself and ask them if there's anytime that maybe they can have a quick coffee chat with you for 15 minutes of their time, and pick their brain a little bit and find about how they got into the company, how they got into that position, and what how you guys can help each other out. And then once you build that relationship, you never know, that person may refer you for a job that opens up in that company. And now you have a referral from an actual employee as opposed to just applying and crossing your fingers and hoping for something. So that's one thing on the LinkedIn side of things. As in regards to your resume, what I recommend people do in their job experience section is I see so many people that I meet for jam sessions that literally just list their responsibilities in their professional experience instead of their accomplishments and their achievements. You should always have your bullet points talk about the things that you've done really well in the company and some of your qualitative and your quantitative metrics. So they could be numbers in there, accomplishments, but that section should be reserved not just for your responsibilities, because anybody could look at a job description and see what you do. What companies want to do is they want to see how have you helped that company and how is it going to translate to if they bring you in and you're going to be able to solve their pain points as well.
Man, those were some pretty fire tips. I hope everybody caught those. But yeah, it's so important. It's about relationship, right? I think that's what one of my first tips I got from somebody when I was job searching was that. And it was like, you need to think about getting a job as getting into a relationship with somebody. And I love this metaphor. They're like, you wouldn't ask somebody to marry you on the first date. And it needs to be the same way when you're searching for a job, right? You have to build that relationship. You have to, like you said, invite them for coffee chats, reach out to the other people who maybe aren't the hiring manager in that thing, especially if they're a side-by-side role with you. I think that's really huge, right? Like if you're an accountant or whatever, and there's other accountants on that position, maybe reach out to them and chit chat with them, right? Really good. Awesome tips. And yeah, make sure that you're getting beyond just these are the things I did, but these are the things that happened because of what I was doing.
Very true.
Amazing. Yeah. Elizabeth had a couple good tips here as well. I love that you guys in the comments are adding tips on top of this, guys. This is so good. Jack, really quickly, hire yourself. Start personal branding. If you're not doing it and you feel comfortable doing it, it's huge. I know for sure the job I currently have, I landed because of some of the personal branding that I was doing. The dedication I had on my LinkedIn came through, and they're like, oh, wow, if you can commit to doing something like this, then you've got that ability to be dedicated to something. Elizabeth said, if you're having trouble getting into the exact position you want, consider solving for the job before. So yeah, answer like some questions that they might have for their job before you even apply to it, right? And put in your cover letter that you write to them. Be like, I've been looking at your website, for example, and I've noticed these things that you could change and it would increase the conversion rate, right? That's the only example I have because I used to be a website designer.
I love it. That's good.
And then Matt, sneaky incentive, get a referral for them. And if the company has refer a friend. Yeah.
Yeah, always good to get a referral from them. And I love what you said about doing your research on the company beforehand, because a lot of times you want to make sure they're not really just interviewing you for the job that you want. You're interviewing them at the same time. So you want to make sure it's a good fit for both ends, because their values have to match your values. You don't want to get a job and be excited, and then you come in and ends up being a toxic workplace, and now you're dealing with the stress and different things, and you have to get out at that point. So you want to do your research. You want to look at what they do well. If you volunteer anywhere, if you do any volunteering yourself, see what they do on the community. What do they do for volunteering? Companies love when you can talk about the things that you're doing outside to help your community and how they know that they can ask you to help them out with their initiatives. And they love that community outreach as well as somebody who can do the job that they're asking you to do.
Yeah, so good. I want to pivot a little bit to talking about a couple things. Now, you briefly mentioned as well that you obviously have a daughter. You run your own business as well. You're doing a couple other things that I want to get onto here in a second. But first, I want to just ask, so for those of you who don't know, well, you won't know because we've talked about this separately. When I was talking to you, you've got all these great ideas, all these things you want to do, and all this stuff you are doing. But you're doing it all while looking after a small kid. You're balancing having a girlfriend and running your full-time work. And you're kind of just making it all work. And one of the ways that I know you're doing this is you're like, I'm like on my girlfriend's laptop right now. I don't have my own office. Like, we feel like we have to have everything figured out before we start doing things. Right. And you're a prime example of that's not the case. Just you can make it work. So what are some ways you're doing to kind of balance family life, a business life, all of these things?
Sure. Great question. So yes, I love what you said, that a lot of people think they have to have all their ducks in a row before they start to do something. But if you've ever thought about starting your own business or doing something that you've always wanted to do, like take those baby steps. Like Elizabeth said, celebrate the wins, right? So start somewhere, get your foot on the ground, and then as you start getting traction on what you want to do, then you can start getting the other things that are going to help you out with what you're trying to do. So you don't have to have everything at once. It takes time. But for me, my daughter is my biggest, one of my, my biggest inspirations for what I'm doing. Right. And same thing with my girlfriend. I mean, family life is so important to me, and just seeing my daughter at 2 years old and having all this time right now that I get to spend with her, not working a 40, 50 hour a week job right now. Like, I get to spend more time with her. I get to come home and, I get to be here at a normal time and eat dinner with her now. It's a great inspiration for everything I'm doing. And I just try to balance everything in succession. So I used to spend a ton of time on LinkedIn all the time, like glued to my screen. And now I spend a lot of time on there. I've learned that, without the people in my life and the support around me, if I was to spend too much time on here and I lose their support, and my girlfriend says, you know what, I want somebody who's going to be supportive of me and be more in the moment, it's not going to be a win for anybody. So I have to be spending time with them, enjoy the nights where I can at home, teach my daughter, play with her toys, and, just have a lot of fun with her and just kind of balance that back and forth and make sure my calendar is good. And don't be afraid to say no. That's a big thing too. Don't be afraid to say no. A lot of times I want to help every single person, but there is a time where I have to say no. Unfortunately, I can't have a jam session at this time. I have other obligations, right? Because it's so important to know your boundaries and know when it's okay to step back, and that's fine.
Yeah. One of my favorite inspirations is a man who some of you may know, big name, Robin Sharma, also Canadian. So that makes me excited as well. And he's got this great book that I highly recommend for everybody called The Great Hero Manifesto. And it's this idea that we all have this inner kind of hero inside of us. And he talks about this really brilliant concept called like the three pillars. And it talks about like as a stool. And we talk about mindset a lot. That's a common thing people hear, right? You got to have a strong mindset. You got to have your mindset figured out. But he includes two other ones. He includes what's called heart set and soul set. And I think that's kind of what you're talking about there as well. And it's like you have to have those things in alignment, and you have to look after each of those things like a three-legged stool. Because if you stop looking after one of those things, that stool is going to become imbalanced, and eventually it's going to fall over. So mindset's important, but you do have to be aware, like my heart set's slipping a little bit here. I need to make sure I'm spending time with my family. I'm spending time with those I love. My soul set's starting to go. I need to do something for me. I need to make sure that I'm doing something that I'm passionate about as well, so that you have that balance in life. And it sounds like you hit that really well. So kudos to that, man. You're doing a brilliant job there. And we talked about balance a little bit, and I was doing a little bit of kind of research before this interview to make sure that I had some kind of information about you. And you had this beautiful post on LinkedIn, and it was really, really powerful. So you and your girlfriend have differing opinions on religion. And this is really interesting because I'm a huge advocate of the idea that it's not and or, it's both. And you guys are doing that really well. So if you don't mind sharing that story about how you guys have navigated you being Jewish and her being very much Catholic, and kind of what the good that's come out of that balance.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I love to share that. And Elizabeth says here that balance can be so hard. It's something that she's got as a New Year's resolution, and she's learning to say no. So I love that, Elizabeth. Yes, that's a great New Year's resolution. I love seeing that. And Matt Allen says kudos, and Nora says every time you say no to something or someone, you are saying yes to something or someone else. I love that. Yep. Flipping that switch and taking the no with the yes. Great. I love that. So yes, Matt, founder of Kudos. Yes. Good plug right there. I love that. Yes. Matt's a great guy too. We just recently connected. So I love that. But back to what you were saying before about the two religions. So funny story. I'll kind of throw it back to 4 years ago when I first met Erica. And we met on Match, and she was getting ready. It was right around Christmas time, and she was getting ready to celebrate Christmas with her family, right? And I told her I was Jewish, and we were celebrating Hanukkah, but I had never been super religious myself. Like, I was raised that way. We celebrate Hanukkah, Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah, all those things. But no, I'm not super religious in what I do. But for her religion is a big thing as a Catholic, right? I mean, we got things all over the house, prayers and stuff like that she's got on the wall, and it's great. I love it. But when I first met her and we started going on dates, she was very hesitant to get involved with me because her thing was when she gets married one day and she gets serious with somebody, she wanted someone to share the same faith as her, right? Which is understandable. People feel like that sometimes. And she wanted to know if I would convert. And I said, well, that's not really an option for me. This is who I am. And this is what I enjoy, my faith as well. Right. So we ended up getting closer with each other. And yeah, we had some tough times with each other, just deciding how we were going to do this whole religion thing. And did she want to stay with me? Well, her stepdad, bless his heart, got involved one day, and she thought that her parents weren't going to be happy with us being together. So he came over and said, you know what, Erica, like, I'm happy with whoever you love and whoever you want to be with. Religion doesn't matter at that point. It's all about what you feel inside for the person, and you make the other things work if you really care about that person. So she was drawn back to it, and it was awesome. It was kind of like a light bulb hitting both our heads to say, you know what, this is what we want, and it's okay that we both appreciate two different things. So, eventually we had Olivia, who's now 2 years old, and it's been great. We have the understanding where Olivia can be raised Catholic, and that's fine. She got baptized, and that's how we're raising her. But with the understanding that I'm okay to teach her all the Jewish holidays that Daddy celebrates and that Daddy, feels about. So she gets the best of both worlds. So I'm teaching her everything about Hanukkah. We're lighting all the candles this time of year. We're going to celebrate Christmas tomorrow. We got the Christmas tree and presents under the tree. And yeah, it's been great. We have this understanding where she can learn both things. And yesterday we asked her on FaceTime, because she's at her grandparents' house. We said, who's coming on Sunday? And she said, Jesus's birthday. And I thought she was going to say Santa Claus, like kids would say, right? So I just love that she's learning about both these religions, and she's getting this hands-on mentality at a 2-year-old level. It's amazing how fast she's learning, and we're loving every minute of it, and we're proud parents because of it.
Yeah, that's really impressive. I think, especially in the day and age we live in, where, like I said, I think we're really driven to feel like we have to choose sides on something. If you were to try to tell people that, me and, my significant other have differing religious opinions, but we would make it work and we have a kid who does both things, it seems like this wild idea, but it's totally not. It's totally fine. I think we're fed so much information that we should live either on this far extreme or on this far an extreme. And if somebody is in either of those positions or has an opinion on one of those sides, that it's all the way over, right? But so much of life is actually lived in that middle part, right? The right. Togetherness. And I think what you're doing brings it to another level. You're like, no, let's grab the good of everything that's around us and use it, right? Because why not? It's there. You don't need to make an issue about it. So kudos to you guys for that. That's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, and I think that in more ways than one's, like, the religions get intertwined in a lot of different ways anyways. So it's great to just bring it all together and, just kind of have the best of both worlds. So, yeah, I love it. And I see some stuff in here with a LinkedIn user. That's let's see. Nora said, Jamie, I was raised both as well. I joke and call myself a cashew. I love that. That's awesome. And cashews are one of my favorite nuts, by the way. So that's awesome. LinkedIn user, I know who this is. I can't see the name, but I know it's Roxanne Tran, because she's the only one who calls me a twinsy. So I know it's her. And she says, is marriage in your 2023 agenda? Okay, let's not give Erica any ideas at this point, but you never know. It might be. I don't know. I don't want to guarantee. I don't want to make that announcement here on Freeman's show, but you never know. It's like I'm being drafted to a team or something, But no, we'll never know. And yes, she'll be in Chicago too. So I love it. It's great. This time of year is awesome, and I just love learning as much as I can about her Catholic religion as well. There's many things I didn't know until I met her.
Do you guys have any special, maybe unique Christmas traditions that you're starting now with Olivia because of this dual religion thing that's going on? Like, is there kind of some fun stuff that you guys get to do?
I think the Hanukkah aspect, to be honest with you, is neat, because now her parents are getting involved and they're buying her 8 little gifts for Hanukkah, which her parents never did that. So, and they're learning when we do the Hanukkah prayer, they've been kind of learning the words to it and stuff like that. So I think that's really neat. They've never done that before. And we just started doing this year the whole elf on the shelf thing, which people have seen my posts, our elf's name is Tootsie, and we've been putting her around different spots. And every morning when Olivia wakes up, she comes up and she says, where's Tootsie, Daddy? Where's Tootsie? And she wants to run and find her and see what shenanigans she's getting into. So it's a lot of fun. These traditions are great. And we're just trying to warm her up to Santa Claus now, because she's a little scared of Santa, but I think a lot of kids are at this age too. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. I do remember kind of being maybe it's alarming that somebody's going to like break into your house and leave random stuff under your tree. I could see that being alarming as a kid, right? You're like, wait a minute, hold on.
Right.
That's not supposed to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Is there any other kind of, so I've never been, and I'll fully admit that I don't have a lot of knowledge behind Hanukkah and stuff like that. Is there any sort of unique Hanukkah traditions that you really like?
You know what? I don't know if there's any traditions I really like about it. I mean, I just love the saying the prayer every night, lighting the candles, knowing it's for the Festival of Lights, and it's 8 days that we celebrate it. Dreidels are fun too as well. It's kind of spinning them around and learning about those type of things. The songs are fun, like Oh Hanukkah, light the menorah. I mean, there's a lot of cool things and traditions that we do that are so similar to Christmas time too, with all the songs and the different traditions with Santa coming down the chimney. I mean, it's just kind of great because everything's in such a positive light, and everyone just looks happy to this, like looks for happiness this time of year, and that's the best part about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's really cool that you're combining the best of both of those things into an incredibly powerful thing, which kind of, again, will lead me into another thing I wanted to talk about, which is that incredible thing that happens when you bring together positive individuals and you put them in the same space together and you go, what can we do? How can we change the world? What can we do for the better? So I do want to ask about another initiative you've got going on, because apparently you're not doing enough yet. You've got this really cool thing happening with getting school supplies for kids in Nigeria. So if you mind talking about that a little bit.
Yeah, so let me kind of start backstory on that. So for anyone who doesn't know Zion Inogieru, he's one of my friends I met on here from Nigeria, and he calls himself Mr. Positive Energy, and it's somebody I've met, and I think he was a guest on your show as well at one point, right, Freeman? I think
he hasn't been yet. No, okay. No, he's on the schedule though.
Okay, awesome, I love it. Yeah, but he's a great guy, and he's always bringing positive energy, and I've met him through Social Saturday. And every Friday, we do an event now that he started called the Positive Energy Audio Room. And it's me, him, Eni, Isa, and Simona. There's 5 of us. And we do this room every Friday where people can come together in the audio room and share stories of positivity, how they overcame hardships, just some words of wisdom, and just spreading cheer to other people in the room. And we have a different topic every week. And we have a meditation session usually in the morning from our friend Lydia. And it's just great. It goes an hour and a half long. And everybody's just spreading stories around and coming up on stage and wanting to talk to people. And this past Friday, we sang Christmas songs and holiday songs to everybody, which was great. And Zion is now starting an initiative that we're all part of, where we're giving school supplies and raising money for school supplies for children in Nigeria at schools out there. So we're raising money for backpacks, rulers, pens, markers, all that type of stuff that kids need in school. And we haven't started an actual link yet, but we're kind of working out the details right now, but more to come on that. I'd love to have anybody that wants to help out. We're looking to reach out to 1,500 children if we can in schools out there. And it's just a great initiative because, children are the future. Obviously, we want to make sure that they're well prepared when they go into school and they have the supplies that they need to get the education that they need.
Yeah, we so often, can be blinded by where we live and the fortunes that we have, and forget that not everybody sort of has those stepping stones, right? And I think it's so important that you guys are taking that initiative and doing that thing. Especially, I was in your guys' positive room yesterday. It's amazing. I think it's incredible. If everybody had the chance to, I highly recommend going to check it out. And you always encourage people really well to get on stage, talk about something about them, and very interactive, which I think is very special. But I talked on there a little bit about how we are very much in the season of giving right now, yes. Right? So this is a great time to remember that not everybody has it maybe as easy as we have, or other people might be struggling with something like that. So it's really important to do what you can to give, whether it be your time, whether it be your finances, whether it just be a simple warming message to somebody that you care deeply about. Really important to give. I think there's a huge benefit to giving in life more than the getting. It's all about giving, right? As I'm sure you're very much aware of. So I am curious too. So the audio room, I definitely have to get Zion on here because I need to ask him this question too. Was that something you guys co-created? Was it something that Zion had started and he brought you on? What's the story behind that?
Yeah, so that was something that Zion actually created himself, and he had brought on a few hosts with him. And I've checked out the audio room before, and I loved what he was doing with it. And it kind of echoed with the values and sentiments that I try to do on LinkedIn as well with some of my content and whatnot. And I reached out to him and said, "Hey, Zion, we've been connected for a bit now. I love what you're doing with this audio room. If you ever need another co-host, I'd love to get on and share my stories as well and just spread positivity to others." And he said, "Let me check with my host, make sure we're good to bring you on." And he came back and took a few more minutes than normal. I started thinking, oh, maybe he doesn't want me on his show. But then he came back and said, "Yeah, you know what? I would love to have you on. It'd be great to hear your perspective on things." And he brought me onto the team. And ever since, we've been doing it every week. And I've just been really happy to be a part of this. It's just been amazing, to do this during the week on a Friday and see how many people have been joining and getting people from all areas of the world, all walks of life, to come in here. I mean, you got people from here, United States, they're hosting. You got United Kingdom, and one of our hosts from Spain. You got Zion from Nigeria. The fact that all these people could come together through LinkedIn to have this show together is just amazing. I mean, it's great. It's mind blowing, and I just love what he's doing out there and what we're trying to do every week, and the movement that we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that really goes to show how important it is to sort of to put yourself out there, right? To have those, to see those opportunities and go, how can I get involved in this? And just to ask, right? Like you just did. You said, hey, I really like what you're doing here. Can I help in any way? Can I come on and host? Can I do something? Finding and seeing those opportunities and just taking them and taking that leap is so important, so vitally important.
Definitely. I agree. And we got some more comments in here. I think I see here. Jack says, "Awesome presentation. When can I interview?" I love it. Yes, Jack. We'll have to connect. I think we are connected. I'll double check that. I love it. Roxanne says, "You better lock her down ASAP." I don't know if Erica's paying you on the side, Roxanne, but she can send you the check in the mail. I love it, though, how supportive you are of her and us. I appreciate that. Jack says, "Great text and verbal content. I have numerous contacts in Nigeria." I do too. Side note here. I mean, Nigeria shows up on LinkedIn. I love it. I mean, there's so many people that reach out to me and send me messages. And it's great. I see so many people on LinkedIn from that country, which is outstanding. So I love it. And then Roxanne says, "How about making holiday cookies? Cheap ones, even if unemployed, like giving neighbors sugar cookies between Christmas and New Year's to spread gratitude and connect." That's a great idea. I'd have to get people's physical addresses to do something like this. So it just depends on if people gave that to me. But yeah, I mean, who doesn't like sugar? I mean, I like chocolate chip. That's my flavor, but sugar cookies is good too. And that's a great idea as well. I mean, and I hope if you're listening in, I hope if you're cooking for the holidays or you're making some good sweets and some cookies and enjoying your baking for the weekend. So yeah,
I definitely let my diet slip a little bit coming the holidays. You know what I mean? I think we all do a little.
Oh yeah.
Let's be honest here. I just had my lovely, our neighbors just came over and dropped off a little gift basket of some baked goods as well, which was really sweet of them. So I encourage people to do that as well, right? If you've got a few bits of extra baking, I know that most of us do. You make, a couple batches of cookies and you're like, I don't need to eat 36 chocolate chip cookies. Maybe make a little gift basket, bring it over to your neighbor's house, right? Even if you don't want to interact with them, I get it. Just maybe leave it on the doorstep, knock on the door and give them a little kind of dine and dash with some cookies.
Yes, the thought that counts.
Trend there. That'd be pretty cool.
Love
exactly. It's the thought that counts. Yeah. Yes. So yeah, absolutely incredible stuff there. So I want to ask a bit more about like how kind of doing positive stuff started with you. Was it something that you started like early in life that you realized that you like doing? Because obviously you're doing a lot of it with the positive stuff that you're doing now with Zion and that group and Annie and all them. The job jam sessions with Jamie is another very positive, impactful thing. Is that something that's always been happening in your life? And how did you identify that this is something that you wanted to do?
Yeah, great question. So I'll tell you kind of how in my life growing up, I was raised, I have two brothers and two sisters younger than me, and my mom raised us all as a single parent. So bless her heart, 5 kids. I don't know how she did it, but kudos to her, Mom, if you're listening, did a great job. So, but growing up, it was my mom and my grandpa, who was my father figure in my life for most of my life. And he raised me to just be a good guy growing up, be great to people, and you'll get great things in return. Don't always think about yourself, think about others and the hardships that they have. And just knowing how I grew up and seeing how my mom struggled, and we were on food stamps at one point. If I'm being serious with you guys and having some serious conversation, it's just I saw the hardships. And growing up, now that I have a daughter and whatnot, and being positive to other people, like I want people to live their best life, right? I want people to see the positive in them and realize that when you get down and things are going rough, that things can always be a lot worse. And sometimes when you hit rock bottom and you feel like there's no place to go, the only way you can really go is up. Right. And the only way you can do it, and it's all about what you do. And once again, we talk about that mindset, right? It's all about that positive mindset and how you think about the situation you're in and how resilient you are, that once you get knocked down, how do you respond to those things? So when I came back onto LinkedIn, I saw so many people making posts on here and talking about how, I'm struggling to figure out how I'm going to pay my bills next month because I was laid off, or how am I going to pay my mortgage? I really need a job ASAP. I have children to feed. And all that stuff resonated with me because I know growing up how hard it was for my mom to put things on the table and make ends meet for us. So I just wanted to be a voice for those people and respond to them and say, you know what, things are going to get better. I'm here for you. If you want to talk, here's my phone number. Give me a call. Let's have a conversation. Like, nothing's off the table. I want to be there for these people. And I just want others to know that community comes not just from those who support you in person, but community comes from everybody on LinkedIn. I mean, if we've seen anything on this platform, it's that we all pick each other up when people get down, and we never want to kick anybody when they're down. We want to lift those people up. So this is something that I've always felt was positivity was a huge part of my life. And I just always think that things can always be worse when they're tough on my end, and that somebody out there always has it harder than I do. And all I can do is be a light in that person's life, and hopefully good karma comes back around to myself.
Yeah, and I truly believe it does. That circle of karma coming back in, and that when you tend to give help, you generally see either help come back or some sort of reciprocating factor in return, right? I think it's so amazing. I want to touch more on that. I do want to just give a quick shout out to Alan again, who keeps shouting his kudos out. Kudos again. I love you both. I mean, kudos is a great name for a business. It's so easy to drop in places.
It is.
I feel like I should be sponsoring this. And I mean, Matt, if you want to, shoot me a message on LinkedIn. We can definitely chat about something like that. I'd happily give you a little kudos logo somewhere for a few episodes.
There you go.
And the hashtag We Are Community. It's so important. And that's what I wanted to get back into here. So thanks, Matt, for kind of bringing me all the way through that. It is so much about, there's that beautiful saying, it takes a village to raise somebody. I'm always so grateful with the way that I grew up. I grew up in very similar as well. We necessarily didn't always have a ton of money, but I met a lot of people and a lot of inspiration from those individuals I met. And it really was that community, that village that sort of, definitely when I look back at it, sort of made me into who I am kind of today. So I think that there's a lot in that. And it's a give and take with that community, right? And sometimes you're, like you said, sometimes you're in the position where you're the one getting at that point in time, because maybe you're at the bottom and you need that hand up. But then when you are in the position to give back, it's important to then return those side favors. And I think people who have been on the receiving end of how impactful that can really be, those are the people that when they get up to those positions, they're like, hey man, I got to reach down and help others up the mountain with me as well. One of my favorite memories from when I was a kid with that. So I grew up, like I said, didn't have a ton of money. And when we first moved to a new location, because my mom had this crazy wild idea, which I'm not going to get into right now, but moved to this new town. And we actually lived in 2 big army canvas tents for a whole year in Canada. And one was our living quarters and one was our kitchen. And we lived down in just maybe 5 or so minutes outside of town. And it was at Christmas time, weirdly enough, that I remember somebody came down and they dropped off a hamper of food for us. Now we had food. I'm not going to say that we were starving, right? We were comfortable. I have really, really good memories of that time in my life, even though we were living very simply. We didn't really have electricity, even didn't have TV, radio, none of that stuff. But I have very good memories of that time in my life. But I do remember that person coming down and giving us a Christmas hamper at Christmas time. And I was 5 or 6 years old at this point in time. So it really goes to show you how impactful that can be to people, that even now, decades later, I can look back and remember that. So I just want to let people know that when you do those little things, they may not seem like a lot to you. And may not even feel like they're that much out of your way. Like if you're like, oh, I'm going to pay for the person behind me's coffee, right? Well, that person behind you could be a struggling mom looking after 5 kids who just got their coffee paid for them. And they're like, holy crap, that changed my whole day. My whole outlook has changed. And I'm going to, be better when I get home for my kids because now I have this positive experience. It's insane the amount of power that can have. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And
yeah. No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I was just going to say, I love how you say that people who have hit rock bottom and maybe they've gotten help from somebody else, when they do get out of that hole and they're feeling like their feet are back on their ground. I've talked to a lot of people who've said, you know what, I just can't wait to get back to that point because I'm going to give back to other people as well. And I know how people helped me out when I was down, and I want to pay it forward to those people. And it's always something I'm going to remember that they helped me out, and then I'm going to help somebody else out the line. So it's all a chain reaction. And that's the whole point behind this pay it forward thing, right? Is that you may not, even if you can't help out right away, down the line, maybe 6 months from now, 8 months from now, you're in a better position than when you were. And now you can donate some money to a good cause, or you can help out somebody that's struggling. And it's all about that power of just how that chain goes and how we can all help each other out to get back on our feet.
Yeah, definitely. With that in mind too, we've talked a little bit about mindset and stuff like that. I am curious on what are some of your tips that people can do to kind of get back up on their feet? What's some things that maybe you started doing as well that really started to shift kind of how you thought about things and how you did things, and some things that you keep in mind even now?
Yeah, so I think what it comes down to is if you're in a tough time and you're trying to get back on your feet, maybe you, like you said, maybe you just lost your job and things are rough now with money wise and whatnot. Like I said, all you can do is stay consistent with the process. Just believe in the process. Get back, try to get back on your feet the best way you can. Start reaching out to other people and start interacting with others, and just see if anybody can maybe help you out with something, or maybe you guys can help each other out with something. Just speak up, right? You never know who's on here, who's going to be able to help you out with anything you need. I mean, there's so many people that I've talked to in this community on LinkedIn that all have their own niches and all different things that they're really good at. And they've all been able to help me out with things. Sometimes they've introduced me to someone who's been able to help me on my journey with this positivity. Or maybe you reach out to a recruiter if you're looking for a job and that recruiter can't help you out, but they say, hey, you know what? I have somebody who I think might be able to based on your background. So once again, it's all about just talking to people and just believing in yourself and realizing that things are going to get better, that this too shall pass. If you're a job seeker, you're not going to be unemployed forever. I promise you that. I can tell you that with flying colors, that you will find something. And even though it may take longer, sometimes it does take longer to get to what you want, right? It's not a sprint, it's a marathon in a lot of different ways. So just keep being positive, keep showing support for others out there that are in the same boat or maybe struggling as well, and form a community with those people where you guys push each other on both ends to really rise above what you're going through. So I think that's the most important thing too, is that you hold each other accountable and you push each other to get to where you want to go and out of that hardship that you're going through.
Yeah. And I think you put that so well. I think a really important thing with that too is putting yourself out there, right? Asking for help. I know so many people who are like, oh, I don't want to ask for this or ask for help on this. It's like people are a lot more helpful than we realize they are. Most of us want to do good in this world, right? So ask people, right? Reach out to a mentor or somebody that you know that's in the field. Ask them questions about it. Ask them for a referral, right? People love helping people. I think we often are maybe shown that that's not the case, but it really is. And I know when I've given that advice to people, they've reached out to people and been like, oh wow, it really can kind of change the way that it is. Because, and I love this post from Matt, is that people all need to be healthier, wealthier, and happier, and doing what we can to free people from stress and difficulties. It's one of my big benefits of one of my big reasons for doing what I do is that I believe that we all have that ability to live that happier life. And it's important with what he's saying as well, the being free of stress, because as we were all very much aware, stress is a massive health impact. Yes. It's one of the biggest killers in the world, and the health impacts from stress can be very long lasting. And we don't necessarily need to have that stress in our lives if we can begin to switch the way we look at things, change our daily habits, do things differently so that we can live longer, happier, And weirdly enough, what comes with living happier is generally more successful as well. Like you're saying, even just the difference between being positive or negative when you're looking for a job can change the whole the whole outlook of an impact of your job search. So yeah, super good.
Yeah, and you need your health. I mean, you need your health because obviously without health, you don't have anything, right? So if you're putting in all these hours and doing things and you don't remember to take a step back and just, you don't want to experience burnout. If you don't have health and you're laying in bed and you're sick, I mean, you can't do anything you want at that point. So you got to really worry about your own health first, and know that when you need to take a step back and you need to recharge those batteries, it's super important because I've been burned out before at times and I've learned from it. And yeah, being under the weather and being sick health-wise is never a fun feeling at all, right? You want to make sure you always recharge.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's so important. And then again, a quick shout out here with Matt and Don here having a lovely little chat here. Don says, I think Matt wants a microphone. And Matt answered beautifully. He says, I don't need a microphone. We all have our own power. We all have our own gift that we're bringing. And that's what really makes that community strong. So man, you guys have been fire in the chat today. So awesome to you guys for everything that you're doing in the chat and for the community and everybody that's in this room here. I did want to take a moment here. So interesting story. We mentioned earlier on in this broadcast here about the fact that you guys in your positivity room, you guys had people singing songs. You started the Christmas carols off actually with Frosty the Snowman, which was really cool. And I think we had 7 or 8 other people sing during that time. And some people were amazing. There was definitely some time that had some goosebumps. Naomi is one of them. I know she is in the middle of something, so might not be listening today. But there were some people that I literally got goosebumps when they were singing. And there's also a really good point in there I want to bring up as well, that it's really important to get yourself out of your comfort zone. And you mentioned that when you first started talking, actually, before you sang yesterday. You said, this isn't something I normally do. I have no backing for the sound music. I'm just going to do something that makes me feel uncomfortable so that I can get more and more used to being uncomfortable. So with that being said, taking a note from Jamie's book, I am going to break out of my comfort zone and sing a little song here that I think has some really powerful connotations behind it as well. So without further ado, I suppose.
You got this. Let's go.
Man, how did you smash this so well yesterday? Whew.
You got it, man. I'm supporting you. Let's do it. It's all about you, man. Let's go.
All right. Good King Wenceslas thus luck. Oh man. Good King Wenceslas looked out on the feast of Stephen, when the snow lay round about, deep and crisp and even. Brightly shone the moon that night, though the frost was cruel, when a poor man came in sight, gathering winter fuel. Hither, page, and stand by me, if thou knowest its telling. Yonder peasant, who is he? Where and what his dwelling? Sire, he lives a goodly hence, underneath the mountain, right against the forest fence, by St. Agnes' fountain. Bring me flesh and bring me wine, bring me pine logs hither. Thou and I shall see him dine, when we bear them thither. Page and monarch, forth they went together. Through the rude wind's wild lament, and the bitter weather. Sire, the night is darker now, and the wind blows stronger. Fails my heart, I know not how, I can go no longer. Mark my footsteps, my good page, tread thou in them boldly. Thou shalt feel the winter's rage, freeze thy blood less coldly. In his master's steps he trod, where the snow lay dinted. Heat was in his very sod, which the saint had printed. Therefore, Christian men, be sure, wealth or rank possessing, ye who now shall bless the poor, shall yourselves find blessing.
Hey, wow. I didn't realize that song was that long. Holy cow, that's amazing. That's amazing. And you got all the words not down packed. That was wow.
I cheated. I read them off. I cheated.
No, that's okay. It's okay to read them off. I didn't realize that there was that many verses, and that was amazing. Good job.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It really goes to show, it's funny because our talk was so much about how giving gives back and all that fun stuff. And that's the message that I believe that song really tells, is that, regardless of your station of where you are, what you do, if you have the ability to impact somebody else, you really should. So,
Yeah. So happy holidays to everybody. I know we got 5 minutes left here. I can't let Freeman be the only one that sings a song on camera. It's the first one I've done as well too, but 'tis the season. And once again, just want to wish everybody a happy holiday and thank you for joining in. D says on here, or let's see, Pat Dudar actually said, well said points, Jamie and Freeman, lots to reflect on. Yes, thank you so much, Pat. I appreciate that, and thank you for joining in today as well. D. Cochra, awesome, been a huge supporter of mine too as well. She says, great advice about taking care of yourself because health is everything. Health is wealth. That's what Matt Allen said. And everyone's saying, go, 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 Freeman. And sing it, man. And Dawn gives you a heart emoji. I love it. Yeah, wow. Look at it. Hey, if you might have a career in singing too. You never know. And you got a lot of fans here. American Idol might be next on your agenda.
I don't know about that.
All right, so I'm gonna sing a quick song here, a little bit easier in terms of words, but I'm gonna do "Let It Snow" here. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and sing it. All right, here we go. Oh, the weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. And since we've no place to go, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Man, it doesn't show signs of stopping, and I've brought some corn for popping. The lights are turned way down low. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. When we finally kiss goodnight, how I hate going out in the storm. But if you really hold me tight, all the way home I'll be warm. And the fire is slowly dying. And my dear, we're still goodbying. But as long as you love me so, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. When we finally kiss goodnight, how I hate going out in the storm. But if you really grab me tight, all the way home I'll be warm. Oh, the fire is slowly dying. And my dear, we're still goodbying. But as long as you love me so, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. There we go. Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well done, man. Awesome. Dude, it's so good. So good. Now we are coming up to the hour, and there is a few things I want to mention still in here. So if anybody's got time, I highly recommend sticking around because there's a few other questions I want to drop in here quick for Jamie. But before we get to that, it's interesting that you started this thing with the Christmas Carol things because I have a family tradition that my mom starts. So if I may or may not be watching this, if you are, you'll totally understand. And thank you for this. So we actually on Christmas Eve, and this is why it feels so right, on Christmas Eve every year, we sing Christmas carols. And my mom had a massive booklet of Christmas carols. So when you brought that up, I was like, I have to. It's Christmas Eve. I have my podcast. It's landing on Christmas Eve. And Jamie's like, hey, we should sing Christmas carols. I'm like, I can't not. It's part of the Christmas edition of my family. So thank you for that because it's been absolutely amazing.
Yeah, of course.
Matt, he says, I just want to say that I hope we all have some wonderful Christmas memories this year, including memories of this awesome show. So thank you, Matt, as well for what you've been doing. So, and yes. Jamie, you got a ton of stuff in there as well. Support for your amazing song. So well done.
Thank you.
Well done there. Now, before we wrap up here, there are two sets of questions I want to ask you, and I ask everybody on the show these questions. So what are 3 things that you do every day that you think help you lead a more positive life?
Sure. So 3 things I do every day to lead a positive life. Well, when I wake up in the morning, obviously, and say hi to my family, my girlfriend, my daughter here. I give my daughter a hug, and it's a nice long hug when she comes out of her crib. And I say, how did you sleep? And she says, good. And, I always change her diaper and everything. And that's just just waking up in the morning and putting 2 feet on the ground and saying good morning to everybody around me and starting our day. That's the first step I do to, to kind of lead that positive life and just get that positive start to my day, right? Knowing that everybody's around me and we're all ready to start our day every morning, right? The second thing I do to lead a positive life is just communicate on LinkedIn with people. Honestly, for me, it's just communicating and engaging and seeing how people are doing and seeing how I can help them out and checking in with folks who are engaging with my content and my posts and just reaching out and seeing if they need anything from me. For that helps me to be positive too and try to see how others are doing and just once again lend a helping hand and just let people know that I'm there for the week to help them out, right? And then the third thing that I do to lead a positive life is when I go out and I'm running errands and things like that, or if I'm just doing things out and about, like I will always make it a point to do something nice for somebody outside that I don't know. So it could just be something as simple as opening the door for somebody. This time of year, it could be just saying happy holidays to somebody in front of me that's buying groceries. There's just a lot of different ways that I feel like we can make an impact on people that in turn will make people positive. Maybe you comment on somebody's outfit and you say, or their accessory, you say, hey, that's a nice watch you got there, and now, oh yeah, thanks, I bought it from here. And now you have a conversation. Like I always try to make it a point when I go out to try to do positive things for other, and then in return, like I said, it reflects on me. So I would say those are 3 things that I try to do every year to maintain that positive mindset that I have.
That was amazing. Awesome. Yeah. So start your day off well with, being grateful, welcoming the day. I love that you added including hugging your daughter in there. So important to share love with those we really care about. 2, communicating with those around you. I think that's really important, right? Engaging with your community.
Yep.
And doing something extra for somebody else, somebody random. I think those are 3 incredibly positive things that you do daily. So Awesome there. Next question is, what are 3 things that you think are the most important parts of living a more positive life?
Ooh, that's a great question. Most important things about, well, I think the first thing, honestly, if I have to tell you, what was the question, to live a positive life, you said, right?
Yeah. Like what's the most important 3 things about being more positive?
Once again, I think the first thing you got to start with is your mindset. We talked about that a lot on this call here or on this live here, and you really just got to get into that mind that, when things are rough, all you have to do is have a positive mindset of thinking and just look to the things that could happen later in the day and the things that you have to look forward to. And the reason that you're here every day, when you wake up and you open your eyes in the morning, it's a new day to really win the day. It doesn't matter what happened the day before then. You get another chance at life, right? The second thing to just be, in a positive mood is, once again, it just comes down to connecting with those around you. And for those who are being positive, reach out, talk to your family around you. If you are having a rough go at things, talk to anybody in your family that maybe you can speak to and just say hi to them, right? A lot of times we don't speak to everybody sometimes on a regular basis. And this reminds me that I should probably give a call to my mom and check in and just see how she's doing and just hear her voice and see how things are going for the holidays, right? Because once again, that can put both people in a good mood as well. And just once again, get you to thinking positive. And then the third thing, once again, what it comes down to, I would say is probably, once again, just communicating with people maybe that you're not familiar with. I know it's kind of the same answers as the one before, but it's so true. Like, it doesn't have to just be friends that you know. I mean, all these people that are in these comments here and that are communicating with us and saying hi to us, like, these are people that I've never met in person, but I feel a strong connection to, and I feel like they're family to me because I've talked to them on a regular basis on LinkedIn. I see their posts, I get involved, and I get to know their life better through what they talk about. So once again, that brings back memories of things in my life that were positive and just kind of gets me thinking on a whole nother mindset. And I just love seeing all the people in here that are communicating with us and just responding to us and just seeing everybody talk about things that they enjoy on LinkedIn and things that are important to them.
Man, so good. So definitely get that mindset figured out how to, get into a positive mindset throughout the day, connect with your community. I love that came up twice. I think that's really important. And then reach out to those that you may not know. Right.
Yeah.
And I think those tie really well to what you do on a daily basis as well. So, man, thanks so much, Jamie. I really appreciate you coming on. I know we're just over the hour, but that's all right. It's okay.
Hey,
We can
holiday
ad-lib it a
spirit.
little bit. It's exactly right. This is a special one. We got to take it a little farther. But I just want to encourage kind of anybody still watching, anybody listening later, go check out Jamie. Jamie Edwards on LinkedIn. Give him a follow. Give him a connection. He's great. If you message him, you need help with job stuff, definitely fire him a message. Jump on one of his jam sessions with Jamie. The link will be in the description to this. You can book a meeting with him, have a chit chat. If you're struggling to find work, I'm telling you, Jamie's going to really help you kind of sort that out. You also want to follow him to make sure you catch those positive audio events that he's doing and stay in the loop when he drops some stuff on the donations and stuff like that he plans to do with the kids in Nigeria. So, Jamie, thank you for all that you're doing for the community, all that you have done, and I'm sure all that you're going to continue to do. I've really appreciated having you on here. Thanks so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me, everybody. Happy holidays. And yes, happy holidays to you and your loved ones. Thank you. And let's come into 2023 with a lot of momentum. Let's do it.
I love it. Yeah. Thanks so much, guys. Just before we wrap up here, if you are looking to find places to get that positive insight and change your positive mindset, my newsletter description will be in the link below as well. It's freemanbeals.substack.com. And it would mean the world for me if you could subscribe to that and follow the podcast as well. It's currently on Spotify, A Cup of Positivity. This episode will be dropping there a week from now. So if you have family and you're like, man, you guys have really got to hear this, there's some good insight into that, I really recommend you sharing that out to these people as well. Share those positive messagings, those positive actions. That's what this is all about, is in helping those around us, giving them the information and insights that they might need to move forward in life. So thanks so much, guys. And as Jamie so rightfully said, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. I don't know any other religions off the top of my head that I can give it to, but go out there, spend time with the people you love, make some people smile, and most of all, have a great day, everybody.
There you go.